Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. And welcome to yet another edition of a review for co-parenting with the Sperlins. Today we are reviewing episode 5 called Karate Kids. The link to it is going to be in the description, of course. So I'm going to jump right into it because before I get to the meat of what I want to say, this was a very, very interesting episode. A lot of things were made clear to me. As the season progresses, I start to see more and more of why Dennis and Stephanie are not together. But before I get into that, one of the first things that was going on in the episode was we find that Dennis's ex-girlfriend that's pregnant is so not cooperating about this unborn child. She's fighting already about it. She'd have moved away. You know, she's already doing the whole hyena backfoot program. He wants to make sure that the child is his by doing a paternity test and all of those things, which I advise any man anywhere to do a paternity test. Paternity fraud is so widespread and so pervasive. There's no way you should be a man in this country where a woman that, especially a woman you're not married to, comes to you and tells you that she's pregnant. Immediately a paternity test has to be done at the earliest convenience. Before you promise anything, before you say what you're going to do or not going to do, we got to establish paternity for this child. Before, I'm not making no promises. I'm not doing nothing that serves a child that I don't know or not sure. In any case, that's not the biggest chunk of what I want to discuss on this episode. This episode was really interesting because if you've been keeping up at all, Dennis often places his children in extracurricular activities, and a portion of those extracurricular activities is to enroll them in martial arts classes. So karate, Shotokan, and all of these different martial arts, jiu-jitsu. He enrolls them because they're boys. And a lot of times when you have young boys, you enroll them in some type of program. You enroll them in some type of martial arts. Teaching them how to fight is a part of that, but also teaching them discipline. Because oftentimes when you are a man and you become good at martial arts, you actually have more discipline to not fight because you know what you're capable of. You know what you're able to do, especially if you can translate what you learn in a martial arts class setting to actual fighting, to actual technique that you would use and call upon if you needed to do so in a physical confrontation. So especially if you bridge the gap between what you learned in a kata and in a certain situation and applicable, okay, as a fighting skill, that's actually different. So as we know, he takes his children to these activities. Now, little Dennis comes home to tell his mom that he had gotten into a fight, or that a teacher had called and said that he had gotten into a fight at school. And so Stephanie calls Dennis and listen, because you need to come talk to him because he think he can do karate on the kids at school, blah, blah, blah. And I actually didn't like the way she characterized that, especially standing in front of little Dennis, because he felt bad. Like, man, what did I do wrong? I'm the one that got hit. Like, he got hit. So his little classmate, I guess they got into some type of little kid argument. Kids get into it. And the classmate, he said, when she asked what happened, he said, well, he hit me first and I didn't hit him. If you're listening, he said he hit me, he punched me. I didn't punch him. So if he's saying that little boy punched me, but I refrained from punching him, even though I have the skill to do that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm wrong in the situation. So she was like, well, you do know you can't do the karate at school and da-da-da-da. He was like, yeah, I know. And she said, well, if somebody hits you, what are you supposed to do? And he said, I did tell the teacher, and then I got in trouble for tattletelling. Like, I got in trouble for ratting it out. And she was like, oh. She was like, well, if that happens, you tell me, and then me and your dad can go up and talk to the teacher. That's all well and fine in the future. But for right now, this little kid done punked me in this classroom, right? And so she eventually tells Dennis that, he's not in trouble. She's not mad at him, or anything like that. But she's also like half scolding him about his use of martial arts when he didn't use it at all. And even if he had, he would have been justified to do it in a self-defense. Here's the thing, before I get into the rest of it, because she ends up having a talk with Dennis, and he has a talk with the boys about it, and that the outcome isn't what she thought it was going to be. But before we get to the outcome of that, this is one thing, like, women, y'all gotta understand, especially when you raising boys. Listen, first of all, physical fighting is conflict resolution for men and boys. Okay? Physical fighting is healthy conflict resolution for men and boys. They are not us and we are not them. Women do not resolve conflict necessarily with physical violence as a first or second go-to. This is why men teach discipline or learn discipline, because that's number one go-to. Oh, you're talking crazy? Let's lay hands and see if you keep talking crazy. This is what we're going to do. Because, see, I'm not going to stand here and just argue and go back and forth. Like, we're not going back and forth. Like, we're going to handle it. This is why you see it in movies, TV shows, and even you might have heard it in real life. A man invite another man outside. Like, do you want to settle this? Because, see, what we're not going to do is keep on jaw jacking. We're not going to do it. Men aren't built like that. Women are built like that. We are jaw jacking. We are arguing till the cows come home. Men don't like that, because once an argument get to a certain point, it ain't nothing else to say. We either gonna leave it alone or we gonna end up beating each other. So we gotta decide what we're gonna do, because this endless arguing, men are not even psychologically built for that. Because the argument is a fight anyway. So we might as well go ahead and get the physical fight out of the way, because this is where it's leading, because you ain't shut up, I ain't back down. So what we gonna do? And this can be, you know what I'm saying? It can be in any situation. Fighting physical violence, and the outcome of that fight is conflict resolution to them. And mothers, you need to understand that is on the table for your son. You cannot take that off the table as a boy or as a man. Physical confrontation is always on the table for men. This is why, for the majority of the part, men they watch who they get into it with and how far getting into it is gonna go. Because physical confrontation, a fight, is always on the table. That's always like the unspoken thing. That's the thing. That's always on the table. That's not getting off the table. We put that's sitting right. That's the centerpiece of the table. Me reaching across and just smacking you, just pop you dead in your face. That's always on the table. So listen, ladies, you're not gonna get that out of your sons. You can teach that stuff to your daughter. But men, conflict resolution is on the table for them. Also, boys are allowed to defend themselves physically. If they are attacked physically, then they are allowed to defend themselves physically. And I don't know what it is with these younger mothers or whatever. Because when I was growing up, we was taught, you better hit them back. Because if you don't whoop them, I'm going to whoop you. I don't raise no punk. So if you get bullied at school, I don't even know why you getting bullied at school. What are they doing? What exactly is this one girl? It's just one boy talk crazy. They hit you, and what did you do? Because see, we get questions like that. G and X got questions like that. Well, what did you do? And if you come back with anything shy of I defended myself somehow or whatever, now they would accept told the teacher. They accept told the teacher. But the teacher was standing right there. I kind of told the teacher, okay, well, okay. But if we was in the schoolyard on the block and we come running home, you know what I'm saying? You all distraught as a little kid crying, got until somebody hit you. Mama like, okay, well, what you do? Daddy said, well, what did you do? I want to know how it went down. And if you get to talking about all this scary stuff about what you didn't do and how you backed off and how you didn't, and it was just one person, and they be like, oh, no. We learned that lesson early. If somebody hit you, you're gonna hit them back, and that's just the end of it. And we don't care if you get in trouble at school for that, because you won't be in trouble with me for that. The teacher might be mad, but I'm not gonna be mad. If you didn't start it and it's not your fault, and some kid picked with you and they hit you and all that kind of stuff, don't let nobody just beat on you. Don't let no other little kid just hit you and stuff. You can't allow people to do that, because if you let them do it, they'll do it. We learned that at home. We didn't learn that at school. We learned that at home. So I was displeased and disappointed with how Stephanie approached that. Now, she eventually tells little Dennis that you're not in trouble. We're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. But she sent him a mixed message. He's either able to defend himself or he's not. Told the teacher that didn't work. That didn't have the outcome you thought it was going to have. He actually gets in trouble for doing it. So now he's conflicted and confused as to what his correct course of action would have been, which is actually not confusing. His correct course of action would have been hit that boy back. Now, he may not have needed to go all out. You know, ain't nobody saying beat the boy, you know what I'm saying, beat the brakes off the little boy. But if you hit him back, you certainly not in trouble. I don't care what that teacher say. They can suspend you. We gonna go get ice cream after the suspension because you're not in trouble. We gonna have a quick talk about exactly what went down and like we gonna talk about it. But at the same time, you certainly not in trouble. I'm not even gonna give you the vibe that you in trouble. So when she tells Dennis this situation and Dennis comes to talk to the boys, Dennis's resolution, he gives them a good talking to about discipline and about, you know, all these sorts of things and the things that they encounter. And what he was trying to get through to Stephanie is that you're not a man, so you don't know how we have to handle stuff. And I'm a man trying to teach boys what they're going to encounter in life as men. Everybody not going to be nice and sweet. It's always not going to necessarily be a way to resolve a situation without your hands. There will come a time where you need your hands to resolve the situation. Now, if it can be resolved another way, fine. He's not telling them to just go all be wilding, but at the same time, don't be afraid to actually use what you know to defend yourself and to defend your family and stuff like that. Like, don't be scared of that, because that is conflict resolution is always on the table. A fight always on the table for a boy and a man. So his resolution, which was something that Stephanie didn't like, was to put them in another to advance it and put them into another martial arts class with an instructor who was going to be a little bit more hardcore on them. So when he takes them to the class and Stephanie's like witnessing how the instructor is handling her sons, she's, you know, doing the whole woman thing, like, oh, you talking to him too rough. I mean, she ain't saying it, but you could see a look on her face like, oh, it's too rough. It's not too rough. It's not too rough. Boys are built for rough. Boys are built for rough. Life is tough on them. Life is not going to be, see, women be getting caught up because we can live it easy. Boys can't do that. The world is not forgiving of a soft man. The world don't forgive a soft man. It just crush them. Oh, you too soft to handle it? Well, you go in the wagon coming. So men have to inculcate some type of toughness, mental toughness or physical toughness. They got to go through stuff. It's not too harsh. You make them drop and give them 20 push-ups, and then you make them kick, and that's not too rough for them. They'll make it. They'll live. Just like that video with Dwight Howard and his son. And people, how he doing too much? We're not doing too much. As the boy was crying, he was doing the exercise he was crying about, talking about he couldn't do. Repping it out and crying, talking about he couldn't do it, but was doing it. So that demonstrated what a lot of women have is a lack of understanding of how boys grow into men. And it's that lack of understanding that causes a lot of Black women to X out men in their sons' lives. And then they wonder why their sons grow up without system, order, and structure, and grow up without proper masculinity and his proper practice of masculinity, and his perspective of it is off. Because you didn't understand the importance of a dad. Stop trying to alienate these fathers. Because you don't understand nothing. Anyways, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. The link to this episode is going to be in the description box. So once again, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Also subscribe to Dennis Sperling's channel. So once you hit the link and watch the exciting episode, don't be afraid to also hit that subscribe button as well to his channel, because Co-Parenting with the Sperlings airs every Thursday night. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.